Welcome to TV Tortured Together on the Hopecast Network, the podcast where we
Your favorite married couple.
dive into the world of TV shows one episode at a time. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Laura, and each week we watch and dissect everything from drama to comedy, sci fi to reality TV.
Whether you're loving a show
Hating it,
or just somewhere in between,
we bring our honest, no holds barred opinions.
and of course, some laughs along the way.
So grab your popcorn
Get cozy.
and join us as we break down our favorite binge worthy shows.
One review at a time. Let's get started. Hi, Laura.
Hello, Jacob.
How is it going?
It's going okay. It's been, a good day. The sun is shining. It's a good day.
It's a good day.
Yeah. Have you been watching anything good on the TV tubes?
TV tubes, not so much. I've still been watching Yellow Jackets. I guess I should say that. But that is now I'm all caught up, so I can only see it on every Friday because they make you wait a week for each episode, which in today's world is like lame because you're like, I want it right now. But there we are. How about
There
yourself?
you go. Yeah, actually, I have been diving into a classic show that we actually talked about here on TV Tortured. I have been watching Perfect Strangers, and it's delightful. We
Perfect
have
Strangers.
definitely worked in some catchphrases of Perfect Strangers into our everyday vocab, and I
Don't
love
be
it.
ridiculous.
Don't be ridiculous. Love it. It's great.
Snoozy, snoozy, baby Balky.
You say that to me almost every night. It is very, very scary. But yeah, so Perfect Strangers.
You ain't living life until you throw in a snoozy, snoozy, baby Balky.
snoozy, snoozy, baby Valky.
But there we go. But we're not here to talk about stranger things, not stranger things, strange people.
Not talking about that either. No strangers involved.
What are we here to talk about, Laura?
We are here to talk about King of the Hill, Season 6, Episode 8, Joust Like a Woman.
I love it.
We'll get to the theme song. So, just a synopsis of the episode: Peggy jeopardizes a potential deal for Hank by trying to bring women's liberation to the Arlen Renaissance Fair. This episode aired February 24th, 2002.
Hear ye of the
That-
King of the Hill.
That is the invitation to the Renaissance Festival, does say, hear ye, hear ye.
It does. So this episode is definitely taking Hank out of his comfort zone. It's taking place in the Renaissance Festival, which we
Yes.
both happen to enjoy going to the Renaissance Festival.
Love the Renaissance Festival.
It is a great time.
Good time. Wonderful time. Best time. Happiest days at the Renaissance Festival.
Although I can say, and I'm sure you could agree with me on this, Laura, that I've never been to a Renaissance Festival like how this Renaissance Festival is run.
No.
A little
But
different.
also, we haven't really been involved in the seedy underbelly of management at the Renaissance Festival. We are just there as patrons,
That's true.
enjoying the wares, drinking some mead, and dressing up.
That's true. I mean, there is that.
So, Jacob, do you dress up to go to the Renaissance Fair?
Here's the thing. When I was a much younger lad, I used to dress up all the time in very, very full get up and costume. Now, I still dress up, but not as crazy as I used to.
Not as risque, one might say.
I would say risque is not the word I would use.
No.
But yes, just it is fun to dress up, though. I mean, you got to partake in the Renaissance era of fun.
I agree. You feel like an idiot driving there, and waiting at the we take the park and ride, so we go to like a bus station and they pick us up. So you feel really dumb until everyone else starts showing up in costume, and then you feel okay, like my people are here, we're good, we can go.
You just go with the flow, man. You just live it.
That is the Renaissance life. Life spelled Lyfe, life.
So I love this episode because we got to get into why Hank is even getting into this Renaissance festivities.
Yeah, them here.
They are in need of propane, and as we all know, Hank Hill sells propane and propane accessories.
And propane accessories, yes.
However, this is probably a first. Hank Hill does not want to sell propane to these. I forget what he calls them. He's not very nice.
I'm sure it was freaks.
It was freaks or weirdos, and he's like,
yeah.
And he's trying to tell his Mr. Strickland, his boss, he's like, we don't want their business. We don't need their business. And Mr. Strickland is like, Hank, you're gonna go sell it, and you're gonna do it.
If he wants a Christmas bonus,
that's right. He's going to get this
job. Yeah.
Now, what's funny is Hank pulls up to this gate, and they won't let him in unless he's in a proper attire. So Hank has to put on some tights and dress up in the Renaissance era. But all goes right with the world over one thing. He finds out that they have these fire-breathing dragon that burns 1,000 pounds of propane a week. And Hank is in love.
Well, what happens is he sees this. I wrote it down. He says he sees the dragon and the breathing the fire, and he goes, "That is the most beautiful thing I ever saw. I tell ye what." So one of his catchphrases is "I tell you what," but he changed and he said, "I tell ye what." I love that.
He got in the spirit and was like, "I tell ye what."
So how long does this fair run? Because the Minnesota Renaissance Festival that I'm familiar with, it runs like Saturday weekends only, August to like September.
End of September. Yep.
End of September. Yep. So August, September, those 2 months.
But this one sounds like it's a week long.
Pounds? Just 1 week out of the year?
Well, actually, no, 1,000 pounds a week. So maybe a couple weeks.
Because these people sound like they've been employed for years at this Renaissance Festival as we meet the workers.
It never stops.
It's crazy. I wish I lived in a world where there was a Renaissance fair running all the time.
24/7.
Go to. Oh, well, not 24/7. They need to go home and sleep and shower, I hope. But oh, what a world! I tell you what.
I tell you what.
I tell you what.
So fast forward just a bit. Now Hank's sold. He's like, all right, we got to sell our propane, except for they have some competition. So the guy's like, you need to convince me on why I should go with Strickland Propane. And this involves now Peggy and Bobby Hill going to the run. And Bobby Hill is stoked. He is just absolutely thrilled.
Yes.
Except for Hank gives him rules that he's not allowed to wear. What? Let's hear him. Give us those rules.
He tells Luann, because of course Luann's with them as well. He tells Luann, he gives her the money, and he says that she's free to buy whatever they need. But he said no tights, tassels, or skirts on the boy. And then Bobby gets excited and he says, or bells. And then Bobby is crestfallen. He thought he found a loophole and could wear some bells, but no tights, tassels, skirts, or bells for Bobby. And his costume. The whole time they're in their normal clothes, and Hank's in green tights, a long green tunic, and a purple hat, like a chef's hat, like it's kind of puffed down.
Yep.
Bobby is devastated.
Hank ain't having it.
He's devastated. Yeah.
Hank ain't having it. Peggy comes in, and the king, of the Renaissance Festival is impressed with Peggy. So he strikes a deal with Hank to gain this propane, which can kind of cause some controversy in this episode of The Old King of the Hill. So basically, the deal is stricken, that they,
Strickland propane. I see what you
that
did there.
they will buy the Strickland propane under the direction that now Peggy Hill will work for them.
So Peggy is escorted to the HR trailer where the guy is not in Renaissance, festivity costumes, and he gives her the job options that are available. Now, Peggy,
Before we get there, we're missing the point here. Hank is basically soliciting his wife to get this sale of propane.
We've seen Hank in these positions of solicitation management in King of the Hill. So this is par for course for Hank.
He's like, Peggy, you'll get over in that HR room and you'll get a job. We need to sell this propane and propane accessories. Dang it, Bobby.
He told her that he was going to remodel their bathroom and get double sinks in the bathroom. And Peggy, as you know, she's a very strong, independent woman. And so she said, no, I'm supposed to buy that with my notary money. I'm a notary on the side. I get money. And so he said, that could pay for the sales tax, and he's being kind of belittling. And so he said this job at the Renaissance Festival could help pay for it. So she kind of felt like she was in on it. She was helping part of the team.
I'll tell you what.
So as we said, Peggy being a very strong, independent woman, she wants to be like a roaming minstrel. She wants some entertainment position, and she's given the option of the wench jobs. She can be cleaning, stable, or butter churning wench. And she's like, how about a queen or a princess? Are those roles taken? They said, no, but I could go over the wench positions again. So Peggy decides she will be the cleaning wench, because she feels that is the highest status of the wenches. And she feels like she is now head wench of all of the other wenches at the Renaissance Fair.
Which one are you choosing?
Ooh, cleaning, stable, or butter churning. I would probably say stable, because it's something I've kind of done before. I worked at a Girl Scout camp that had horses. So we had to clean the stalls while the girls rode horses. It was terrible that was what us as adults had to do while the children got to enjoy the horses. But so I feel, okay, I could deal with this. Maybe a lot of poop, but okay.
I'm 100% going with butter churning, because the whole time I'm churning butter, I am singing Amish Paradise by Weird Al and Old English.
The whole time? You're like, been churning once or twice. Yeah. Okay. You could do the Amish Paradise. Yep. Renaissance-y paradise.
Nah.
A wench once or twice.
Okay, out of all those jobs, churning butter, work for sure. But easier. Yes. I'm not cleaning poop. It doesn't smell.
It's constant, though. It's constant movement. Whereas, the stable, it's different movements.
Yeah. Still churning butter.
Churning lots of butter. Raised a barn on Monday. Soon I'll raise another. Good choice. So that's the wench role for you.
So she chooses a cleaning wench.
Yep.
What she stumbles upon.
Wench.
Yes. So she stumbles upon that, and it's not all what it seems to be. There's a miss here of what these jobs entail.
Yeah. Not only does she have to clean, she also has to make it dirty so that she can clean it. And they teach her how to make it dirty. And now that it's clean, throw some dirt on it.
She's like, again. Oh yeah, it's clean. And then the lady walks up and throws dirt all over it again.
Yep. Terrible.
And they will be signaled. It's so degrading to the degree of when they are signaled, they are to then immediately start cleaning as the tour of fans come by to look at the wenches doing their degrading work. And Peggy's not thrilled about this. She starts talking to other ladies. She finds out they're getting no vacation time. They're not getting paid overtime. Their wages are low. All these good stuff. And Peggy's like, this can't stand in Peggy Hill fashion. And she's like, we need to fix this. And we're gonna fix it.
As the highest ranking wench, it is her job in her mind. And as substitute teacher of the year, she couldn't let this tour pass by without explaining to them all the things a cleaning wench would be responsible for, and kind of going off script and, going off on, what makes a wench clean, I guess. Yeah.
And all this too, we got to keep in mind, she's ruffling feathers, and it's getting Hank upset because she's now messing with the deal. She's messing with the propane deal.
Yes.
Because she is going against the king in this.
She can't hold her tongue.
No. And Hank, I believe, does tell her to zip it.
Yeah. Yes. Prince King Philip, I think it's King Philip. He,
yes.
Does lament that a good wench is so hard to find. To what's his face, Hank, and Hank, yes. Yeah, he's like, you seem to have a good wench there, and yeah, Peggy unfortunately is not living up to being top wench, I guess. So
she's not stoked about that. She then rallies the girls, and they realize that there needs to be a change, and she tries to help motivate these girls to get their rights, get what they need, and they are going to basically sabotage the king as he's coming by, and
in the
parade, and he's about to come. And they all back down, except for Peggy.
They've all got tomatoes ready to throw at the king, and she's the only one throwing those tomatoes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Peggy throws a tomato, but does not hit the king. She hits Hank, because Hank steps in front of her. Or is that later?
Probably. I mean, that makes sense.
Yes.
It makes sense that Hank would try to stop it and take one for King Philip, and. Yeah, which it makes me think that this Renaissance Fair must be like a full-time gig, because they're like, look, we've got people at home to feed. Where if it was like a weekend-only job, I don't know if I'm living or dying for minimum wage for a 10-hour job or whatever. No overtime, the wenches said, so yeah.
It does seem like this is their full-time gig and work, and this is how they make their living.
I'll never work again. Yeah, it's crazy. These poor ladies. I won't call them wenches anymore. I'll just say ladies.
And you're probably not wrong. I mean, she's probably not wrong when she says, I'll never be able to work again, because most Renaissance fairs are not full-time gigs that you're paying your bills with.
No.
On a basis. You usually have some other jobs and things you're doing on the side of doing the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
So there is that. I mean, so the double sinks are in jeopardy because of Hank.
Yes.
But they go on. She gets the stockade because she can't keep her mouth zipped.
Can't hold her tongue. The king.
But eventually, it took him a while to get there. But Hank comes to his senses. He finally comes to Peggy's aid. And he doesn't care anymore. And they walk out. They leave.
Yep.
And save the day.
Well.
Kind of. Yeah, but
kind of.
Here's my favorite.
To save this account, though.
It's true. Here's my favorite line in this whole episode. When Hank walks in to talk to the king, the king goes, "How thou, Gasman?" So now that's all we scream in our houses. "How thou, Gasman?"
How now, Gasman? Yeah, that was a good one. King Philip is voiced by Alan Rickman.
Yes,
Professor Snape.
What's up, Snape?
Yep. So that's fun. I love Peggy complimented him. She insulted him first, as Peggy does, and said, your kingdom here has very few inaccuracies. And he's like, what? And she goes, and your accent is good, but it could use a little work, which I thought was funny. That's what That's what she was insulting. But yeah, so to save Peggy's honor, Hank has to joust the king,
That's right. Yes.
and he fails, but Peggy,
A secret knight comes
a secret knight comes,
and knocks the king off his horse.
knocks the king off his high horse. And who's that knight, Jacob? Who's the knight in shining armor?
Peggy Hill.
Peggy Hill.
Who
Peggy
probably
Hill.
makes sure that he understands that he was just beat by a girl.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, the Renaissance was real lucky not to have Peggy Hill. She would have
The greatest thing, though,
things back.
during that joust is they pan into the crowd, and what do we see?
Bobby
Bobby Hill.
dressed in like this jester's outfit of some sorts. He's got a pointy hat. He's got like a belly shirt, and he's got like these ballooning shorts that are striped, and he's got one of those Cyranac de Bergio or whatever. Anyway, he's got one of those masks with the long noses, and he's
He is decked out to the nines.
no tassels, no skirts, no tights. He is as close as he can get to dressing up. Luann still just in her, crop top and shorts, but
Bobby
thank
was
goodness
living it up. Bobby
got
was living it up.
to. And of course, Boomhauer, Bill, and Dale were there. Dale was dressed. He wanted, if you dressed in costume, you got $1 off. And it was in a period costume. And he was dressed as like a sci-fi character.
He was from the future.
He was from the future. And while they were jousting, the three friends were discussing who was going to take care of Peggy when Hank died. And
them getting to Boomhauer. Or not Boomhauer.
Yes.
Not
Was it Bill?
Boomhauer. Bill. And then
Yeah.
Peggy was like, never going to happen.
Yep. And she storms off. I guess that's when she decided to dress up as the knight and save herself, which
And she's like, my options
for the
Bill.
course. Yeah.
She's like, not having it. I'll save myself.
I'll be a widow. I will just die. Yeah.
Yes,
Hank will be a
yes.
widower.
So I once go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say one of my favorite lines was, Peggy and Hank roll, right off into the sunset. And Dale says that, Peggy has set the women's liberation back, forward a couple hundred years, and she's ruining the future. And he's got to go back to the future. And he's like, and Bill goes, take me with you. I hate it here. And I'm like,
That's
oh,
right.
Bill.
Poor Bill.
Poor Bill.
Poor Bill. So we got to spend a few minutes here because this is important. Normally we
Yes.
would say this for the bitter in the episode of talking about this could this be remade. However, this is being remade. So we should have to touch about that. So King of the Hill is being remade. When is it supposed to be released? Do we know this?
No idea.
We've been
No
hearing
idea.
it for quite a long time. It's not been
Let me see if I can find it.
because it's been talked about for a very long time that
Yeah.
this new King of the Hill. But this is where, while you're looking this up, I'll kind of what the information we do know is that this is now Bobby is a growing up, like in his 20s, 21, I believe. He is now a chef, world renowned chef in the city, and that's kind of where it takes place of how this is going. Is where Bobby's now grown up, and we're going to be in the King of the Hill universe.
Yeah,
Presumably,
so he's 21, and it says early 2025, which we're now almost mid 2025.
Almost 2025. So
it's gotta be.
So we talked about this with our friends as we were talking about the Hank of the King of the Hill, King of the Hill. That we imagine that you're going to see a very old Hank. You have to, and is gray haired, and the hilarity of, is he still going to be disappointed? Yeah, he loves his boy. He loves Bobby. But are we still going to get the hilarity of Hank Hill being disappointed? And one of my hot takes was, I wish they do in this episode, like where Bobby goes home to see his parents and he cooks with a charcoal grill.
Yeah.
And it just, Dang it, Bobby. We use propane and propane accessories.
I mean, since he will be the chef of a fusion restaurant, it's highly likely he's not using propane.
It's true.
So yeah, it's bound to.
So there may
You
be
know,
some conversations around his cooking choices.
I wonder if Hank will now be the manager of Strickland Propane
Oh.
instead of just the assistant manager. Maybe he has taken over for Mr. Strickland.
Because
Maybe Peggy finally is a teacher instead of just a substitute teacher.
because we would assume they're not retired at this point because Bobby's only 21. So they're still probably in working age. So that's a
Yeah,
great point.
Yeah, it's a time jump, but not by much. If it left when Bobby was like in middle school.
What if Hank is now the manager of Strickland Propane and Bill is his associate?
Oh no. I don't think that I think Hank's smart enough to not hire Bill.
I think Bill has skills we just don't see.
He's a barber for the army. Like, why would he leave that job?
That's true. He does enjoy
He
being
loves
a barber.
cutting hair.
He
Yeah.
does.
Maybe he's
sometimes
like
you
at
gotta
a Fantastic Sam's or a Great Clips.
go running his own barbershop.
Maybe.
So there's
Everyone gets-
so many angles this could go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is that coming. So as we learned today, it says spring, early 2025.
2025.
We're there. I still have not seen it. So hopefully soon. That could be
TikTok.
soon.
TikTok,
The
Greg
time is
Daniels.
The
Yeah.
time is ticking. Theme songs. We always close out. We got to talk about theme song and where we rank a theme song. 1 to 10. This is King of the Hill. Laura, where do you rank this theme song?
I give it an 8. I really enjoy it. As listeners know, I like a theme song with lyrics, tells a story, tells me what I'm going to watch. This one's good, but all it has is a yeehaw, or a yahoo or something, and so it's good. It's very hummable, but
Oh, man.
I need it to have something else. So I give it an 8, which I think is still respectable. It's a good score.
I feel this is a disgrace to the King of the Hill to mark it an 8. This is a 10 out of 10 theme song.
10 out of 10.
You don't even need to hear the whole theme song. All you have to hear is bum, ba, dum, and you automatically know you're about to dive into King of the Hill.
This isn't Perfect Strangers. Like, come on now. Like, there's any theme song that I can hear the first couple bars and be like, woo. But you
No.
get jazzed over absolutely no words at all.
It tells the show. It gets you
Really?
hyped.
Bump,
It gets you
bump,
excited.
bump, 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 tells me everything I need
You're
to know.
excited. You know you're going to see Hank. You know you're going to see some Lady Bird. You know you're going to see some Bobby Hill. You are stoked. You're jacked. Like, this is it. 10 out of 10 theme song.
Where do you think this particular episode falls in good King of the Hill? Would you like top tier, bottom tier, in the middle?
It's in the middle for me. It's a good episode. I have many more that are probably way top tier than that, but it's up there. It is a good episode.
Yeah.
It is fun.
Yeah. So upper middle class.
Sure. I would put it there.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a good episode too.
It's a good one. But the thing with the King of the Hill, there is so many good episodes. Like, all around, it's just a great show, and there's so many good moments in King of the Hill.
What I love about King of the Hill is that you could describe any episode and be like, "Oh yeah, I love that one. That's my favorite."
Yes.
And it's probably true. Like
And there's some truth
Peggy's
to that.
Feet, the Aisle 8A, there's the self-defense class, the
Bobby
dog
Boy's
dancing.
Yes, I mean, it can go on and on and on
I
about
mean,
all the hilarity
it's-
of it. So
Chock full of fantastic episodes. So
there you have it, folks. Another TV torture with King of the Hill, which is great. It's been a great episode to talk about. We are so grateful for all of you that listen. We are grateful to Laura to take the time to be on here and do this podcast with me, which has been enjoyable. We appreciate all of you as we wrap up another episode of TV Tortured together on the Hopecast Network. Have a great night.
bye. Bum, 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 bum.